Hello everyone, you're all very welcome to the launch of PS Gay. I'm Teresa Daly, publisher for Gill Books. And before I start, I just have to mention fire exits. There's one here just on the left of the lift and one straight at the back, so that's all the health and safety. When we published Dear Gay in 2023, it became an instant bestseller. Inspired by the RTE documentary of the same name, it covered shocking stories like those of Anne Lovett and Christine Buckley, showing how the Gay Byrne show was an important forum for exposing and discussing a dark side to Irish society that needed to be aired so we could move forward. But the contents of Dear Gay just scratched the surface on an extraordinary archive of material held by RTE, and we knew that there was much more where that came from. It was an exciting project to delve into the archives again and physically sift through the material with Susy at the helm, guided by Brie Dooley and the archive team, and ably assisted by former Gay Byrne radio producer Alice O'Sullivan. Their knowledge and personal memories of the show and the stories of shake tracks have resulted in another essential social history of ordinary Irish lives. Once again, PS Gay contains the best of the stories from the Gay Byrne show and highlights what a brilliant producer and presenter Gay Byrne was, with his incredible ability to take the pulse of the nation and know exactly the stories that mattered to the people at home. I can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it tonight and read it after 2 years of really hard work by everyone involved. I can't mention everyone who got us here, but I do especially want to thank Roger Charles and RT and Brie Dooley and their teams, as well as Alice O'Sullivan and Alison Walsh. I especially want to thank Susy Byrne, who has been devoted to this project for the last 2 years, sensitively preserving and articulating her father's legacy in her own unique way. It has resulted in something really quite special that we're very proud to be the publishers of. So congratulations, Susy, on the launch of PSK. And I'm absolutely delighted we have another iconic Irish broadcaster to say a few words to officially launch the book. If you can please welcome Claire Byrne.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I'm going to move PSK and I will sell that one, Alice, okay? Put that there. I don't think you'd believe me if I told you just how honoured I am to be here and to be asked by Susy to be here tonight. Susy doesn't know this, but I think it's fair to say that when I first met Gay and Kathleen, I was incapable of speaking to either of them in any sort of a coherent way for at least a couple of years. I mean, I remember meeting them at various events in the early days and just nodding dumbly as they attempted to engage me in conversation. I was that awestruck, and in many ways I still am. I never admitted to him that when I started my broadcasting career, the first real job I had was in the Channel Islands, and over there the first thing they would say to you when they hear your surname is, "Are you related to Gay Byrne?" And for a moment, this happened a couple of times, I would go, Will I say it? And I just could never cross the Rubicon to say that Gay was my uncle. But I thought about it, and I still am sometimes. And like so many of my generation and beyond, Gay's voice was the soundtrack to all of our lives. I was around 12 when I got my hands on his book, which was written with the wonderful Deirdre Purcell, who we think of tonight as well. And I read every word, and I think even back then I was a student of Gay Byrne, watching his body language on the Late Late Show, and I could tell that really relaxed radio style was born of meticulous preparation. And I wanted to know everything about him. But the book, at the time of my life, as you will remember, was called, it answered that most pressing question that I had. What special privilege in life did Gay Byrne have to emerge, what did he emerge from to do what he was doing? And the answer was that he was just like all of us. He came from an ordinary family and he worked his way up. And if he could do it, and I always felt this with Gay, that what he was saying to us was that any of us, if we worked hard enough, wanted it enough, could do it too. But the truth of it is that nobody can be like Gay Byrne. We are all still in awe of him, and he stands as the master of his art, the genius of his craft, and we still look on in wonder. And this wonderful book, P.S. Gay, allows us again to delve into what made Gay so special, and it proves, and this is just astonishing to me, how close his audience felt to him. Because as I said to Susy on the radio this morning, there's a real magic in the letters. Like, these people are talking to their best friend. They're saying words that you know when you read them. They've probably never spoken those words out loud to another human being before. And to think that they would sit down and put pen to paper and begin by writing Dear Gay, or in this case, P.S. Gay. And for all of us who work in broadcasting, it's that really strong bond with the audience that we're chasing. And Gay and the team on the Gay Byrne show, and I know there are plenty of people who are here tonight who worked with Gay over the years, they met the audience where they were at, and that's what the letters show us. Like, the letters pointed the way and the radio programme followed, and sometimes that's not quite what we do, and I think we're making a mistake in not following the audience at times, and that's what this book reminds us to do. It's a simple thing, but it takes guts and courage to do it, but boy does it work. I also want to just take a moment to mention a big character in this book, Mr. Joe Duffy. And we all associate Joe, of course, with Live Line, but we know he cut his teeth, or he was born, is that what you said this morning? He was born on the Gay Byrne show, and he did mad stuff at the programme's bidding, including that clip we played this morning of him in a jacuzzi with 12 singers from the Italian Cultural Institute. And there are those of you who know what that means, and there are those of you who don't, and I'm delighted on both fronts. And Joe is the reporter that, you know, every show needs, completely fearless and hard-working and willing to do whatever you ask him to do, and that's what we all want. You know, it's taking the programme beyond the studio, and I'm so delighted, Susy, that you've paid tribute to him in a way that I really think that he deserves. I'd love if we could have a round of applause for Joe. And Susy, can I say to you that I think that you're the daughter that we all want to be? Because this is not only a public service and a social history, but it gives so many of us access to that social history that we mightn't otherwise see and hear. But it's also a real love letter to your parents, both to Gay and to Kathleen, and it's a gift that we would all wish to give, a beautiful tribute to them that you should be, and I hope you are endlessly proud of. I am going to finish up now, but I'm going to mention that tomorrow is my last day in RTE. And 15 years ago, when I was offered a position in RTE, I could not make up my mind. Will I go? Because the programme they were offering wasn't quite the programme that I thought I wanted to do, you know. And who do I ring? Gay. And I had a very long conversation with Gay. He absolutely drilled me with questions. This was in 2010. I remember I was in a coffee shop and I couldn't go to a quiet place because Gay was ringing me. So you don't say, Gay, I'm going to call you back. I just took the call. Are you happy where you are? Why do you want to leave? What programme is it you want to do? What is your ultimate ambition? Don't burn any bridges where you're leaving in case you want to go back. God, that was great advice, wasn't it? And at the end of that call, Gay said to me, look, why don't you get on the Montrose train and see where it takes you? And that's what I did. And it brought me such joy, and it was great advice. And I've had a wonderful 15 years, and I thank Gay for that advice on that day. And here we are, back full circle, celebrating this publication night with Susy and Gay and Kathleen's family, and all of you who knew and worked with Gay. And I'll come back to where I began. It's such an honour for me to be here with you. So with all of that, those of you who have a glass, will you please raise it now to Susy Byrne as we declare PS Gay to be officially launched. And now I'm going to hand you over to the woman at the moment. Please welcome Susy Byrne.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Claire. It is impossible for me to adequately put into words how incredible it is to look around and see such support here this evening, particularly on the dreadful night that it is outside. So I do really appreciate you all being here. Claire, it is so fitting for you to launch PS Gay. Dad was a big fan of yours, as you know, and that you didn't fall foul with soft Irish tea either is a great compliment to you. And thank you for your beautiful tribute to him tonight. Tomorrow, as you mentioned, marks your last day in RTE, and you too leave a great broadcasting legacy as huge pastures new. And I think I can speak for everyone here and thank you for many hours of great radio, for asking the questions that we wanted, answered, in your charming manner, and for your beautiful voice to listen to, because that really matters, and you have it. All of us gathered here this evening wish you very special times with your family over the next few months, and every success in this career. Although this book bears my name on the front cover, it was by no means single-handed. Alice O'Sullivan and I compiled BSK together. Alice was a key member of the Byrne show team. Her knowledge of the show, the files, both physical and audio, are encyclopedic. Alice and I worked tirelessly together to draw out the best of the Byrne show for PSK. At times, I found the volume of material quite overwhelming, but not Alice. She is a force of nature. Alice cut her broadcasting teeth on the Byrne show team and is simply a master in research. Trained by the best, as she so often told me. Thank you, Alice.
Wow.
Our editor, Alison Walsh, whose skill with words brought PSK to life. To transfer a radio show into a book and do so to maintain the essence of the show is not easy. In fact, it is so much more difficult than we thought. So thank you so much, Alison. Nikki, Teresa, Maggie, Ellen and Fiona in Gill Books. P.S. Gay is a beautiful publication. On publishing Dear Gay, I made a light-hearted comment that we had left so much behind in the RTE archives. You heard me and took this to heart. Thank you, Teresa, for persuading me I could do it, particularly after Mum's death, when I really didn't think I could. Neither Dear Gay nor P.S. Gay would have been possible without the team in RTE archives. As our national service broadcaster, RTE contains our history like no other. In the era of the Byrne show, the power was in the pen. Its power was in the pen, not digital. Physical rather, not digital. The document archives of the Byrne show will never be created again. They are brown manila folders of daily files, mapping the show, containing handwritten letters, community events, torn out pieces of newspaper, caller comments, interview briefing notes, handwritten show notes, all reflecting that day, that date. People who put pen to paper the length and breadth of this country, and from far and wide. No emails, no editing, just an outpouring of their thoughts, reactions and the desire to share their lives with one man they felt would listen. Technology is moving so fast we don't yet really realise the magnificence of what we have on paper in archives. Thank you to the team in archives for doing what you do, for your assistance to us day after day, and for the Byrne show team, without whom there would be no programme. My first book, Dear Gay, was a curation of letters written to Dad on the Byrne show. I described it as a handwritten social history of Ireland, not through the official historical reports, but through the pens of those experiencing our changing country. The response surpassed all expectations. Nostalgia giving us security and an escape into days much simpler than today. Is it okay? Yeah, Byrne is over there. Is it right, Susie? It's fine, Susie. You sure? Yeah. P.S. Gay explores the other side of the show, the laughter, spontaneity and community spirit that defined the nation's mornings. We found stories and monuments and moments that revealed the joy and warmth behind the serious issues, from nuns winning Bible quizzes to uproar over Glenroe scandals and the production of huge-scale live events. Serious moments too, an interview with a young couple faced with abortion told by the couple themselves. In the 1980s, the community terror of the AIDS virus are among the collection of stories within PSK. The signature tune of the Byrne show played earlier ignites a memory in all of us. Whether you're a child home from school, a housewife, a farmer, a taxi driver or a bus driver, the Byrne show was part of your day, and in a way you're part of it too. PSK reflects on Dad's legacy as more than a broadcaster. He was Ireland's confidant, a man who connected people through conversation, compassion and laughter. Within PSK, we have what we coined during our research as the birth of Joe Duffy. Tied to Dublin during the week as producer of The Late Late Show, Dad longed for the show to go to his listeners to involve them further in it. And so Joe was born. Armed with the newfangled mobile phone and recording device, he brought the Byrne show into the community. Joe travelled the country to report back to Gay. He broadcast from Mountjoy Prison, from the Jacob's Biscuit Factory where he is credited with bringing back the chocolate Kimberley. And Joe, together with outraged listeners, mounted a campaign to bring back the Christmas gnomes to Switzers, which they won, among so many others. Gay's listeners loved Joe, and the banter between them both was infectious. In our research, time and time again, we heard snippets of Dad's laughter and Joe's antics, their dry humour a winning combination. Just like Dear Gay, PS Gay is a reflection of the lives of Gay's listeners. Predominantly women, but not exclusively so, they were vibrant, intelligent, the backbone of the community, full of life and ambition. They channeled that into us, their families, their homes and those around them. I believe it was those women that really changed Ireland. If they couldn't be ambitious for themselves because the system didn't allow it, by God they were ambitious for us and for this country. They had a wonderful sense of humour, the banter between Gay and his listeners who all spoke to him like a friend, counsellor or family member. They felt they knew him and so they opened up to him and each other just like that. They were simply fantastic. They are my mother, your mothers, and they are indeed some of you here this evening. When almost 1/3 of the population across the country is tuned in daily to one programme, the sense of community and togetherness is palpable. In 1992, the famine in Somalia was widespread. Money was coming in from the show's listeners for Somalia, and so it was decided they would set up a Byrne show fund. And from that, producer Anne Walsh, who's here this evening, and the team came up with an idea to put on one large-scale concert to raise money. So far, a fairly normal and achievable task. The concert would be Handel's Messiah. Dad announced on air that Harry Crosby has donated the hall, being the point depot. And from there it took off. Within 1 week, all conducted to the radio show, they gathered 124 choirs from all over the country. A total of 3,000 voices singing in the point, with the RTE Concert Orchestra. All staff from the lighting and sound everywhere in the point gave their services for free. Listeners volunteered to work at the point on the night as ushers to sell raffle tickets, companies with buses offering to collect the choirs and bring them to Dublin and drive them home after the concert. Dublin listeners offered beds for the night, all just wanting to help, to be part of it all. So within 1 week of announcing the idea, the concert was aired and held in the point. The aim to raise £100,000, which ended up being 250,000. To put into context, the average Dublin house was 50,000 at the time. The letters, phone calls and energy within the files of that week was astonishing. I hope we have done it justice within the book. There were some funny comments too from a lady who had asked her husband to get concert tickets as she was staying with her sister. He was too busy and forgot, so to punish him, she stayed in her sister's an extra week. To a lady who was caught speeding and wanted to donate her fine to Somalia, she needed a receipt for the court, but asked he didn't read out her name on air because she hadn't told her husband that she had been caught speeding. To a poignant donation from a family who had lost their 20-year-old son a few weeks earlier in a car accident and wanted to donate the proceeds from his bank account. All of it comes back to that sense of community. something that feels a little bit lost now, and I don't know whether we'll ever get it back. But in those days, it was who we were, as evident through PSK. At the time, I wasn't to know that it would coincide with the last 12 months of my own mother's life, but I'm so glad that I was able to share some of this material with her. She remembered everything and was so amused when I showed her piece I found with her distinctive handwriting on the files, where she had added a prompt or two to the team about special requests and messages to be passed on to Gay. I got the distinct feeling that any request from Kathleen was not to be ignored. Every so often we came across something which was quite simple but powerful. On one day, Gay asked listeners to tell them what the Angelus meant to them. The responses were quite beautiful and poignant. In today's world, when we talk of meditation, reflection, the power of now, the Angelus was all of that for so many. A time to stop, to reflect, if working in the fields, a time for a break, but always time to just stop. As we near the first anniversary of Mum's death next week, it feels right to read a small extract from the book about the Angelus and its meaning to one listener in particular. Dear Gay, the Angelus bell to me means cycling home from work in Cork to Little Island, about 6 miles, and putting the bicycle in the shed where my mother would have left a candle lighting for us if it was a dark evening. Coming in the back door where she greeted us in a crisp ironed apron, face powdered and beautiful pink cheeks, with her hair grey combed to perfection and the gorgeous smell of the dinner on the range creeping into our nostrils. The Angelus rang out and we prayed in silence for a few minutes, and you remembered friends and family and everyone's intentions. Then all the news of the day was told and shared. It's a time for reflection for me, the Angelus bell, every day. This letter resonated with me because my own mother Kathleen was always at home when Crona and myself got home from school. On occasions, she might have been getting ready to go to an event with Dad later that evening, but she was there, something delicious bubbling away on the stove. Sometimes she would be in full makeup for a function, her outfit protected by what she called her housecoat, which was really a light cotton dressing gown with buttons down the front. I have a lovely memory of watching her apply nail varnish as we ate our dinner. She would help us with our homework and chat to us about our day, and she was sure to tuck us into bed if she could before going out. I can clearly remember her reading letters from her radio show, Overseas Requests, in lieu of a bedtime story, her voice animated in rehearsal for the show. We loved these. The letters were from immigrants living all over the world. Their stories were often accompanied by a request for family or a piece of music. We loved it. The stories people told of emigration and exile were fascinating to us. PSK is both a tribute and an invitation to remember, to revisit those moments when the country is gathered around the radio, when voices united in empathy and fun. It is Gay in conversation with the nation, and a reminder that while times have changed, the warmth and humour of those who contributed so willingly to the show remain part of who we are. Dad's love of adopting various accents, acting, his sense of comedic timing was renowned. I think it is apt to finish with himself, a piece loved and frequently requested by so many, but one for which obvious reasons wouldn't translate into PSK, the Christmas cake recipe.
Without further ado, I'm going to give you the recipe for this fruit cake, the special Christmas fruit cake recipe, which we've been asked to give you once again. First of all, the ingredients is 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, 4 large eggs, 2 cups of dried fruit, salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, brown sugar, 8 ounces of nuts, and the juice of 1 lemon, plus 1 bottle of whiskey. So a cup of water, a cup of sugar, 4 large eggs, 2 cups of dried fruit, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 cup of brown sugar, 8 ounces of nuts, the juice of 1 lemon, and 1 bottle of whiskey. And this is what you do with it. You first of all sample the whiskey. That's the first thing you do. You have to do that to start off. Sample the whiskey to check for quality in case there would be anything wrong with it, because you only want the best quality whiskey to go in to this particular cake. The whole cake depends on its flavour for the quality of the whiskey. So check the whiskey straight away. Then you take a large bowl and check the whiskey again, just to make sure in your own mind that the whiskey is all right and it's not going. It could go off as soon as you take the cork out of the bottle and open the top. It could go off. So check the whiskey again to be sure that it's of the highest quality. The way to do that, by the way, you pour 1 level cup full neat and drink it. And then to be doubly sure, do that again. One level cup and drink it. That's the second cup. Now, you turn on the electric mixer and you beat 1 cup of butter in a large fluffy bowl. Then you add 1 teaspoon of sugar and you beat all that up again. Now, while you do it, make sure the whiskey is still okay. Have another level cup of whiskey. Make sure it's still okay. Try another cup. And then you turn off the mixer, and then you break 2 eggs and you add them to the bowl and you chuck in the dried fruit. No, yourself, and then mix all that on this turner, and then check the whiskey again before it gets too late. Check. You have to keep on check the whiskey. No. Right, where was it? Yeah, right, now, if the fried fruit gets stuck in the bitterness, you pry it loose with a juice gun, you see, and the easy way to do it. Don't be worried about it. Then you sample the whiskey again to check for consistency. Now, you sift two cups of salt, or so, 2 cans. Check the whiskey. That's the important thing. Now, you sift the lemon juice and you strain your nuts. And after that, then you add 1 table spoon of sugar. Or something, whatever you can find. Sugar in the whole big cup. Then you turn around, if you're able to turn around, and you grease the oven. So don't forget to grease, and turn the cakes in to 250 degrees. Hold steady now. Turn the cakes in to 350. Yeah. Don't forget to beat off the turner, and then you throw the bowl out the window. Check the whiskey again, and go to bed.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and the books are here at the counter. I'm sure Susy will sign one for you if you want after.